Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about startups. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, I am working as a software developer for a small startup. The company doesn't care about code quality and requires us to deliver just working code to meet deadlines. Should I quit even though the salary is very good? Well, you're going to have to ask yourself how important work environment and salaries and, well, craftsmanship is to you. So everybody's different here. Some people care a lot. I've actually worked with developers who quit their job because the code was so bad, and some people just don't care. Yeah, they don't care at all. Everybody's different. What I can tell you though is that uh, the hacking things together and making moving really really quick only works so long before it actually doesn't help you anymore, which is the thing that quite a lot of companies, they don't understand this, that there is a balance between quality and time to market, velocity. If you only prioritize time to market, you're going to lose on quality. If you only focus on quality, you're not going to ship anything. And that tug of war, it's a fine line to walk. And the thing is, in a startup, usually the thing that you favor is time to market because most of the time your company isn't stable. And every company's desire, every founder and every boss's desire, is to get to a point where the company's doing so well that they have a fairly stable place in the marketplace. And that is hard. Just the other day, I was talking to one of my coworkers about this, and he asked my opinions on this exact topic, and I said the thing is that like, a lot of the enthusiastic programmers, they all want to work they want to work in a startup, because in the startups, in their naive little mind, that's where you get to be involved, that's where you get to be a creative programmer, that's where you get to spread your wings and work with the latest and trendiest tools. And I go, that's absolutely true. This is where you most of the time get to do that sort of thing. But the thing that you don't understand is that the place where you can really take your time and try to do things really well and really, really, really go into depth on things is not in the startup. It is usually in the bigger corporations because they have the money to take that sort of time if they want to. The startup doesn't. Here we have to ship things that I have shipped the devil's code more than once, or Satan's code, where like if I showed this to you and you didn't have any context, you would just assume that I am a grossly incompetent software developer, and you would be right because the code that I wrote was absolutely horrible. But given the time restriction that we had and the fact that the system was built in a certain way with other hacks on top, there was no other choice. This was unfortunately the best option, and that is the real job of a software developer. The real job of a software developer is to make the best decision and the best implementation given the restrictions that you have. And it's only really naive junior developers who don't understand that that reality always hits you. And so if you're working in a company such as that where they're in constant delivery mode, you have to ask yourself, is can you sustain that, or do you feel like you can be part of that? Because if you go to a bigger company, that doesn't necessarily mean that you won't have the same sort of problem, because this is it's a very common misalignment in every company, and it is the thing that most software developers just they don't get it. You don't understand that the company, what they want is to deliver as quickly as possible, always, because that means money. Quality and stability is a necessary evil for a lot of companies who don't understand that it is necessary to have a certain level, ideally a high level of quality, in order to ship good things. And so that's the thing, like that sweet spot, like how fast are you going to move versus how much time are you going to spend on quality. It's something that you're going to battle in every single company. Even up at the FAANG companies, they have the exact same problem. All companies have this problem, and some companies are really good at the quality thing, but then velocity is going to suffer, and that's the endless battle of IT, figuring out how can we maintain high quality and maximize our development speed, or our time to market. And what I can tell you is that if your specific company say they're focusing way too much on just shipping for deadlines, it's just a matter of time before they will either have to address the quality issues because their customers are going to go from asking for new features to being annoyed at things never working, and then the company will do what all companies do. They will start getting all these complaints, and then they will react to those complaints, and then your manager is going to start saying things like, oh, we're getting a lot of complaints, why doesn't it work? And if that manager is worth anything, they will realize that all those warnings, most likely that the developers have given them about quality, well, maybe we should allocate a small budget, just a little, like maybe 10% should be spent on fixing bugs and doing things well. Every company is different, and every company has different opinions on how much the ratio should be. How much time do you spend on quality, and how much do you spend on development velocity? And if you don't agree with the ratio that you have in your company, your only option is to either lobby for a change of pace or move to another company. But you have no idea what the ratio is in the next company. This is the jack in the box for every single company that you will join, where you can go to every single company regardless of which one it is and ask how is your how do you deal with this, how much time do you spend on quality and stuff like that versus other things. And every single time you're going to get an answer that is sort of correct, but you don't really know until you're part of that environment and you're doing the work. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you feel that you're working in a company where they're just shipping really, really bad code to meet the deadlines, especially since it's a startup, you should know that smaller companies usually favor the time to market above all else because they need the money. The reason why the really big corporations can move slower is one part because they're so big that it takes time to ship anything because you have a lot of stakeholders and you have a lot of code. But at the same time, you also have so much money that you can afford to take your time. You can afford to fuck things up a bit because you have enough of a budget and a buffer of cash that if one product doesn't work out all that well, you can continue iterating on it and you can try to improve it, or you can scrap the thing and do another thing because you can afford it. Small companies can't do that, and that's the thing that a lot of idealistic developers, and I've talked to them before, even in my own company, where I've explained to them, dude, if you're looking for an environment where you can just do whatever you want and take your time and really focus on quality and so forth, this is not that environment. Startups will have a lot of benefits. Small companies have a lot of benefits. You can move really quickly and you can play with the latest tools and so forth. But delivery is key. Speed is key. It is of the utmost essence that we get good things, ideally good things, or good enough things into the hands of our customers so we get money. Because if we don't get the money, we die. The company goes under. Big corporations don't have to worry about that as much because they already have a stable company most of the time. You don't. So you have to understand that there's a balance. That balance is always going to be there. How much time do you spend on quality? How much time do you spend on time to market? And your idea of what that ratio should look like might be very different from your manager's. And the only way you can solve that is to talk about it or find a manager who has the same idea of what that ratio should look like. Have a great day.